We look to our origins every day in order to determine our future course. As a curator, it's my role to analyze the documents and the photographs that are in our archival collection. And I also spend a lot of time asking questions. I ask the questions, what do we remember? Why do we remember it? What else should we be remembering that we may have forgotten? And perhaps most importantly, how do we commit these ideas to memory? We have a goal of commemorating and celebrating the history of Near East relief, and also of commemorating the events that gave rise to the foundation of this organization. One of the conclusions that I've come to in my own research in our own archives, which are expansive to say the least, is that despite changes in technology over the past 100 years, which have been tremendous, nothing compares to the power of the original image. Nothing compares to the document, the written word, the handwriting, communicating a message about Turkish atrocities, the telegram, communicating a call to action or a call to duty. We are fortunate enough that our founders and our early board members and relief workers left us these images, these documents, these calls for our attention, and we're able to share them 100 years later. That's where looking forward comes in. The Near East Foundation specifically created the Near East Relief Historical Society in an effort to share these materials and to tell our story. The Historical Society is an educational initiative within the greater construct of Near East Foundation. We are connecting our rich history with our current work, and we're also recognizing that it's not only our privilege to have this information, it's our duty to share this information with the public. We're doing this through a variety of initiatives. For example, you may have noticed the exhibition that is in the beautiful lobby space here at the museum as you entered today. That exhibition contains archival material, mainly from our own collection, high-quality images, reproductions of posters, and interpretive text that will guide you through the story of our organization. We're also working on commemorative initiatives that include events like today's event, an online museum, and encouraging the traveling exhibition to be viewed in as many places as possible. Just to give you an idea of some of the strengths of our archival collection, I'd like to show you a very brief video that we produced back in December. I confess, I made that video. Thank you. As I was saying, I confess that I made that video. I've probably watched it close to 200 times. My eyes tear up every time. Some of you in the audience today may have family ties to the Bird's Nest Orphanage, which we explored in that very brief video. And the images that you saw are from a collection within our archives that was donated by the family of Nellie Miller, later Nellie Miller Mann. As you can see, Nellie captured the essence of life within this one particular orphanage so effectively, so humanely, and so emotionally that we must share these images with as many people as possible. And I think that you'll agree that it will be so important when we can share what is really an incredible gift from Nellie Miller and from her family with the world. Now that you've seen an example of some of the very fine qualities of items in our archives, I'll show you some of the challenges of archival preservation. The early Near East relief workers and staff from the New York office exhibited incredible foresight by making a collection of the print materials that were distributed to interested parties, to potential relief workers, and to anyone working at a staff office in, as my colleague Mr. Martirosyan mentioned, all of those many offices in the different states and territories. Unfortunately, while the brochures themselves were produced on very high-quality paper, the scrapbook in which they were pasted with non-archival glue is highly, highly acidic. And you can see in looking at this reproduction, which is a photograph of some materials in our archives, that the scrapbook itself is crumbling at an incredible rate, while the original materials are in excellent condition. Unfortunately, the materials were also pasted in with non-archival glue, and that means that they have to undergo a special, almost a steaming process in order to separate the documents from the page. The pages are so acidic that they are literally destroying the documents themselves every moment that those pages are attached to one another. We've also had items in the archive that were suffering from water damage, suffering from just the effects of age and storage, and one of our priorities is not only to preserve that collection, but also to stabilize it to the extent that each object can be digitized. One of the major initiatives of the Near East Relief Historical Society is to produce the Near East Relief Museum. The video that you saw was from an early phase of our fundraiser that we launched in the fall, and we will be launching the first iteration of the Near East Relief Museum as an online presence later this month. You can actually sign up for a notification about the online museum's launch either here today in the lobby with my colleague Kristen, or else you can sign up online by going to the Near East Museum website, neareastmuseum.com. I'll say it again, neareastmuseum.com. What you'll see today are some snapshots of the design work that's gone into the museum. The online museum itself is not live yet, and when you see the final product later this month, there will be some changes. But this will give you an idea, an overview of our goals. We want to use technology to share some of these important documents, some of these important images that people otherwise might not be able to see. They might not be able to travel to our archival collection in Tarrytown, or if they are able to travel there, they might be only able to handle a photocopy of the original document because of deterioration and fragility issues. The online museum begins with a story of our relief organization, which, as you know, is intertwined with the story of the Armenian Genocide. Visitors will be introduced to an online exhibition that takes a timeline and thematic format, meaning that each chapter tells a specific part of the story, and within each chapter, the visitor will have the option to review slideshows and to read interpretive text, some short articles, some longer form articles. As you can see, the images themselves are incredibly evocative. And each image will link to either a slideshow or a brief description of the image itself, or to a portion of the online archive. In our view, a major goal of the online museum is to celebrate the history of each and every brave relief worker who participated in Near East Relief's activities. What you see here is a still shot of the memorial. We have gathered information on nearly 1,000 people who served as volunteers with Near East Relief overseas, and that doesn't count or take into consideration the probably thousands of people who served on the home front to raise awareness. Visitors will be able to click upon a name or scroll through, and to the extent possible, we've connected images and archival documents with each of these relief workers. We will also have a searchable archive, which will allow individuals to search by geographic location or by theme, and we'll also present some collections or mini exhibitions. We plan on having an exhibition strictly revolving around the posters that Near East Relief produced because they are so iconic. And for many people, they're an introduction to this story. They really grab the attention in a way that is very unique. One of the ideas that I'm really interested in exploring as a mini exhibition is the role that women played in Near East Relief's work. For example, when many of these women left the country to go overseas, they couldn't even vote in America. And yet they were leaving this country and working in positions of great authority and great importance overseas. They were directing orphanages. They were overseeing health and safety. Women were running not just hospitals, but entire hospital systems. At one point, Dr. Mabel Elliott, an American physician, supervised the largest hospital system in the Near East, and that was a Near East Relief system. We've been working very hard to collaborate with other organizations that are interested in sharing our history as well. And as part of that initiative, we're producing a curriculum guide that is intended for teachers of students in middle school to high school, although truthfully, it's written at a level that it could be adapted to a college curriculum as well. The guide not only explores the genocide, it explores the formation of Near East Relief and its transition to Near East Foundation. And it takes a view of the American history aspect of this story. In that way, it can be integrated very seamlessly with a US government curriculum, a World War I history class, a global history class, or if a school is fortunate enough to offer a course on genocide studies, it would fit in very well. The guide itself features images from our archival collection, and the text was drafted by a former educator from the Chicago public school system with more than 30 years of experience in teaching this subject. Eventually, that will be available as a download through our online museum, as will the panel exhibition that you see in the hallway. In summary, I would ask you to do one thing. I would ask you to remember the stories that you've heard today, and I would ask you to take them with you. But please, please, do not keep them to yourself. Share them. Share them with your family. Share them with your friends. Share them with anyone you encounter who might have a spark of interest in this subject, because that is how we remember. Thank you.